We're going to plow through the real agenda here. So I call the regular board meeting of the Regional Transportation Authority to order, and it'll be a real quick break. We'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and get our legs stretched, and we'll dig right in. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Director Andalcio? Aye. Director Carey?
Here.
Director Colson?
Here.
Director Frega?
Here.
Director Fuentes?
Here.
Director Groven?
Here.
Director Higgins?
Here.
Director Holt?
Here.
Director Cotel?
Here.
Director Lewis?
Here.
Director Melvin?
Here.
Director Payne? Director Ross?
Here.
Director Sager?
Here.
Director Triani? Chairman Dillard?
Here.
We have a quorum of 15 present with 1 absent.
Great. Item 3A is the approval of the minutes from the meeting held on October 17th, 2019. Director Frega moves that we approve, seconded by Dr. Sager. Any discussion on the minutes? If not, Audrey, can we use the attendance roll call, or do we need another roll call?
We're going to
here?
need a new one since Director Lewis just left.
Okay, let's take a roll call so we have a baseline.
Director Andalcio? Director Carey? Director Colson? Director Frega? Director Fuentes?
Aye.
Director Groven?
Aye.
Director Higgins?
Aye.
Director Holt?
Aye.
Director Cotel?
Aye.
Director Melvin?
Aye.
Director Pang? Director Ross?
Aye.
Director Sager?
Aye.
Chairman Dillard?
Aye.
14 ayes and 2 absent.
Great. That is, the minutes are approved. Audrey, we have a report on the docket review. What do we need to know there?
Well, we need to know that the board met in executive session on October 17th to review the closed minute meetings. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, public bodies are required to review prior to closed meeting minutes periodically to determine whether a need for confidentiality exists with respect to all or part of the minutes. Based on its review, the board reached consensus that there were 2 discussions suitable for release, and the remainder of the currently closed minutes should remain closed to inspection by the public because the need for confidentiality still exists as to those minutes. The board will continue to review these minutes to determine whether any changes in circumstances indicate that they may be made available for review. No action is required on this.
Great. Thank you, Madam Secretary and Council. The next item is item 4, which is the public comment section of the meeting. I think we exhausted the public during the Finance Committee meeting, so we do not have any registered speakers today before the big board meeting. And we'll move on to item 5, which is Director Leanne Redden's Executive Director.
I'm hiding up here just so I can click through slides. I'll be super brief. And I always start with this stuff, but Jill covered quite a bit of that in her quarterly performance report. So I think I'll just remind everybody that the year-to-date cost of carrying our short-term debt, while it is almost half of what we were at about this time last year, it is still at $4.3 million. So it is real money that we do have to cover the debt because of the delays and shortfalls of the state payments. The Illinois General Assembly finished its second week of the fall veto session last Thursday. Both chambers have now adjourned until next year and are scheduled to return the end of January. Congress was in recess for the first half of October, and after returning, Congress will need to focus on 2020 spending bills, but as you probably have noticed, they're a little preoccupied with a few other things in Washington right now, so it's a relatively light transportation month. There was a big amendment that passed on the Senate side, which actually got very weedy, but got us past the Rostenkowski test, which would have, if it had not been amended out of the legislation, it would have actually administered a 12% cut to all of transit funding across the country. So that was actually a huge initiative that our National Association, APTA, led for us and mobilized all of us and very successfully on a very bipartisan basis, 82-11 in the Senate, which you don't hear very often anymore, passed and was very successful. So that was something that did happen that wasn't related to impeachment. Sorry. And one quick note, we again received the GFOA Award for recognizing the RTA for the distinguished budget presentation for our 2019 budget and capital program documents. It's our 23rd year, so I want to just give a shout out to our budget, finance and planning, capital staff for the great work that they do on a continuing basis to allow us to receive that. As we move into the holiday season, one of the things we do work with the 3 service boards on is continued promotion of the services that are out there. So we are repurposing and reusing some of the work that we had done in some of the other marketing campaigns, but targeting now this to, we can all agree on and oh, what fun it is to ride for the holiday season with an eye on the Magnificent Mile, Festival of Lights, and other events coming up around the holiday season. So look for those. You'll hear them on the radio. You'll see them pop up on web searches, etc. across the region. And one final thing I do want to highlight is we do have another award for our trophy case. I think it's good for us to sometimes pat ourselves on the back, the staff specifically. The RTA recently received from APTA the AdWheel Grand Award for our region's Invest in Transit video. This was the award-winning video was featured on our YouTube channel and used in other locations around the country, around the region, but it was used to make the case, continue to bolster the case for the need to invest in our capital infrastructure, and I think we can say it was a great success because we passed that with the legislature. I'd just like to take one moment to share, is this going to load if I just hit, got a page down, one more?
Yes.
No, didn't. Okay, there it is. Play, yes.
2 million rides each weekday. The second largest transit system in the country. Buses and trains that cover 3,700 square miles and serve more than 8 million residents in 6 counties in northeastern Illinois. That's the RTA system, served by 3 regional transit agencies, CTA, Metra, and PACE. In 2018, the RTA produced the Regional Transit Strategic Plan. It makes the case for dependable funding streams to enable transit agencies to provide public transportation well into the future. The plan is called Invest in Transit. United with the region's transit agencies, it outlines 3 primary goals: deliver value in our investment, build on the strengths of our network, stay competitive. The plan shows $30 billion in investment needed in priority transit projects over the next 10 years, at a time when there hadn't been a capital bill passed in Illinois in a decade. How could we let our riders and stakeholders know what we needed? That our system was in jeopardy. We created Invest in Transit, the video inspired by the strategic plan.
Because transit makes life better for all of us.
We shared it with everyone we could. All 4 regional transit agency CEOs worked together, speaking to groups large and small, in downtown Chicago and across suburban communities. Invest in Transit, the video, was the opening act each time. It answered questions, explained our situation, and showed the challenges from the rider perspective.
I thought fares paid for transit.
Doesn't the government pay for all that?
So how much are we talking?
And it left room for the CEOs to speak from the heart about the projects that need funding to continue to serve riders. We also had some fun with it. We produced a trailer to tease the video and presented it as a summer blockbuster on social media.
It's an epic story about survival.
We divided the 5-minute video into much shorter social media posts. We sent the video to the press and shared it with partners, asking them to help us promote it too. The trailer and video got about 200,000 social media impressions. We began to feel the tide turn. The video became an integral part of our overall communications campaign message. We have a plan. It's time to invest in transit. In June of this year, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the largest capital bill ever passed in the state and the first one in a decade. Lawmakers agree it's time to invest in transit. We think this video helps share that important message, and our region's transit riders will benefit from that investment for years to come.
So I want, a familiar voice in there, great voiceover support there, someone who should take up a moonlighting job.
I like alternative.
Oh, hang on, sorry, we're doing other, I didn't stop, yep.
Oh, we agree. We can take it.
Yep, thank you. And I want to recognize the communications staff as well as the planning staff and government affairs staff for the great work, not just the RTA staff, but also the service boards for helping us put that together. So with that concludes my presentation. Answer any questions if you have any. Thanks.
Great. Great. Any questions of Leanne? Again, to the staff, B, Susan, Jeremy, and to all of those who work with you. You amaze us
Chairman,
every day, how
I have
good
one
you are.
question.
Yes.
I'd like to
sir.
extend this meeting for an hour, so it'll be a really long question. Do we get, I'm not kidding. I just wanted to recognize the Metropolitan Planning Council, Civic Committee in Chicagoland Chamber for putting this letter together. I think we have very robust pieces in place, but I do think we owe these civic groups some kind of response. I know you work with them all the time on understanding what the gaps that they think we have and addressing that with the service boards. And I think they are right, that it's the right time to talk about it. And I'm not saying that there's anything that is lacking, but I think we need to know why it was brought forward, how you've been responding. And I know that each one of the service boards has very rigorous processes for capital allocation, and that the RTA serves overall, but there is something that we shouldn't really ignore here, because we need them for this coalition to go back again and again and again, and first to restore operating funds. So that's not a question, it was just a comment.
And a good one, too. Thank you. Moving along, item 6 is the update on the RTA Transit Access Citizens Advisory Board. Our old friend Greg Pullman is here with his beautiful companion animal. Greg, thank you for your patience in sitting through our marathon meeting today. It's all yours. He wasn't the only one.
But anyway, good morning or good afternoon, Chairman Diller, directors, RTA staff, and the public. I'm going to keep this very brief because many of the subject matters have already been discussed. We met on October 7th, 2019, and we had 3 updates and overview from RTA staff on three items, one being invest in transit, which you all know is a concept to objectively review performance goals throughout the region. The other update that we received was on the passing of the Illinois capital improvement budget, which I know everybody's talked about over and over here today. And also they gave us a briefing on the 5310 program projects. After these briefings and updates, the Metropolitan Planning Council gave us a briefing on their universal mobility study. This is a study that they've conducted to take a look at the mobility infrastructure and services throughout the region. The goal of the study is to identify gaps in the system that need to be addressed. They will be launching a formal invitation to talk about the study in early December. The last thing that we did was establish our meeting dates for next year: February 3rd, April 6th, June 29th, and October 5th. That completes my report. I told you I'd keep it brief.
Thank you
Any
very much,
questions?
Greg. Anybody have any questions of Greg? All right, get Ruben out of here.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's ready to ride the rail.
He may have to use the gentleman's room outside. Thank you very much, Greg.
Thank you.
Item 7 is the approval of a consent item as it appears on the board agenda, and that's the resolution certifying the financial results for the third quarter of 2019. Is there kind of a motion? Director Carey moves that we approve, seconded by Director Andalcio. Is there leave for the attendance roll call? Seeing no objection, leave is granted.
14 ayes and 2 absent.
Thank you. On item 8, that's the approval of contract and expenditure items as they appear on our board items, and we're only going to do 8A and 8C. 8B is going to be deferred to a later date, so therefore, we're only going to be voting on 2 items. 8A is the ordinance authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the RTA and PACE, and 8C is the travel expense reimbursements for staff and board members. Any questions on those? If not, Director Ross moves we approve them, seconded by Director Groven. Is there leave for the attendance roll call on that? Seeing no objection, leave is granted.
14 ayes and 2 absent.
And under item 9, I recognize Leanne Redden for just a piece of new business.
So I'm just stealing your mic. I just wanted to let the board know, some of you may recall, well, Ed Gronkowski, who was a long-standing staff member at the RTA, passed away several weeks ago. He had been already out on leave with cancer, but some of you don't necessarily know Ed, but he did 2 stints with the RTA. I don't recall, Julia was trying to check on how many years he worked with us, but it was longer than I worked at the RTA. He is and CTA before that. He was a great asset to our team. It was a big loss to us. Many of us attended his wake last week, 10 days ago, about. So I just wanted to share that information with the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will miss him greatly. Any other new business to come before the board? If not, I want to remind you that our next meeting is on December 19th. It'll take place right here in the same facility. We thank CMAP for allowing us to use their wonderful facility while ours are being worked on at 175 West Jackson. Committees will begin at 9 promptly, but everybody ought to get here early because you know the security downstairs is like going through the airport. So if there's nothing else or no further business to come before the board, Director Cotel moves we adjourn, seconded by Director Ryan Higgins, and all those in favor signify by leaving. All those opposed, too bad. We are adjourned. Thank you all.